Hi folks, Tommy Kelly here once again from adventuresinwoohoo.com and the40servants.com, and today indeed we are going to be talking about the 40 Servants. Brian over in the Facebook group, the 40 Servants Facebook group, was asked me would I be able to upload just the audio from the YouTube videos that I've been doing about the 40 Servants, because it would save in bandwidth and some people just prefer to listen to stuff anyway. And I thought rather than doing that, rather than just uploading the same thing twice in a different format, I would do the podcast about the 40 Servants, so that even those who've seen the YouTube video will get something new out of these things. So I suppose the best place to start is, what is the 40 Servants? First of all, that kind of sounds wrong to me. What is the 40 Servants? I know technically it should be what are the 40 Servants, because there's 40 of them, but the 40 Servants is collected together as one thing. So what is the 40 Servants? Someone who knows these things, please tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I'm going to go with is because that's what feels right. Well, it doesn't feel right, it feels wrong, but I think is right. So what is the 40 Servants? What are the 40 Servants? Someone let me know. The 40 Servants are 40 individual and unique servitors that can be used for both divination and for magical purposes. Now, servitors are the created beings that can be used by anyone. So you could think of them as energies, as archetypes, as servants, as ideas, as thought forms, or spirits, or whatever it is that you would like to think of, things that we can get access to that will allow us to use certain energies. And each of the 40 Servants has an individual distinct role, or has, a type of attribute or a certain area that it works best with. And a lot of these areas or attributes or powers, we could say, have been, there's plenty of different places or different beings or different saints or different spirits that may have access to these things. But I think one of the main things that kind of get overlooked by the 40 Servants, and the clues in the title, the Servants, is that these servants are beings that work for us, for the magician. They're not like a saint or a god that you have to petition to or beg or get the favour of or get attention of. Please help me. Please be so good as to help me. These beings, these thought forms, these servitors were designed, created totally just to serve. So that is their function. There's no other function. There's no life anywhere else doing something else that you will be disturbing them from when you call on them. They're there waiting for you to call on them. And that is your ease of access into these energies or powers. So say something like the gatekeeper, who would have similar attributes, similar powers and energies to Papa Legba from the Voodoo culture or system. He's not Papa Legba. He is an easily accessible energy that is similar to him, that calls on same kind of energies, same kind of powers, same sort of archetypes, but in the guise of a being, thought form, servitor, whatever you want to call them, an energy that is a servant. You don't have to go through all the rituals and the pomps and circumstance of that you would in a food-on ritual to get the attention of Papa Legba. You could use the gatekeeper as a more accessible and easier to use form, and in a form that is for servitude. Hope that makes sense. So when people ask me, is Papa Legba the same as the gatekeeper? I would say no. The gatekeeper is the gatekeeper, and Papa Legba is Papa Legba, and but there's similar characteristics and qualities to them, and one has borrowed from the other, but they're not the same. Same as Ganesh is not the road opener, and whatever the other things that are in the deck, similar to that. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. The divination thing is you just would use the cards in the same way you would use any divination system like tarot or cartomancy or anything. So you just find out what spread you're going to use and then put your cards down. My favourite one is the past, present and future one, which is 3 cards, and you have 3 cards that represent past, present and future. And then the servants that appear for you represent the energies or the events or the energies that are around those parts of your life. What was the energy of the past? What was the energy of the present? The energy of the future? A lot of people don't like the word energy. I don't mind it. I quite like it. So that's the way it is. Each one of them also has a magic component that you can use to get more of that energy into your life, that more of that spirit or that soul of. So if as we were talking about the gatekeeper, you could use the gatekeeper to get into places that you normally wouldn't have access to, or to get information you normally would have access to, like getting into, say, like a group of people, or a clique, or a clique, whatever way you want to pronounce that, things like that. Or you can generally locked out of some sort of area of life that you want to get access to. So you can use the energy of the gatekeeper to open that for you. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, then please, leave me a message or whatever. Going to run quickly through the 40 servants. I'm not going to spend too much time because there's 40 of them, and I don't want to be here all day, and I'm sure you don't want to be here all day either. Okay, so we're going to start with the adventurer. The adventure is all about, obviously enough, adventure, excitement, pushing your boundaries, and trying new things. It's about escaping out of your, like if you're in a rut, if you're doing the same things over and over and don't seem to be able to get out, if you're doing the same things, getting the same results, breaking out of your boundaries, coming out of your comfort zones, getting a bit of excitement and adventure and spontaneity, and make life that bit more exciting and fun and happy and stuff. Some people don't like that too much. I like it on occasion. I don't like my life to be totally adventurous all the time. But the problem with that is you can easily get into a rut, because if you don't like change too much, you tend not to change. But it's always good every now and again to push your boundaries, go out of your comfort zones and see what else is out there. Living life to the fullest in the sense of what life has to offer you. Well, don't be limiting yourself because you don't like change. And adventure is useful in that. Okay. So next we have the balancer, which, strange enough, again, is explained as bringing balance, an equilibrium and stability and an even keel to people's lives. So in a reading, it would denote that maybe you need a bit of more balance in your life, that maybe you're doing too much of one thing and to the disregard of other things, and they're getting put by the wayside, and it's not conducive to an overall healthy kind of system. She can also be used can also denote that something has become out of balance in the sense of a relationship or a business deal or anything really, any sort of disbalance in diet and health or anything like that. That maybe you're doing too much exercise, maybe you're eating too much cake, and you need to balance. In Magick, it's useful for any sort of balancing thing, where in relationships, say someone has the upper hand in a business deal, maybe someone just has an upper hand in a relationship and you feel that you don't have enough say. All about your word is equal to other people's word, your power is equal to other people's power. Stability, even keel, balance, anything that needs that. Maybe you need help with not spending so much money, or to balance your books, balance your bills versus your income, all that stuff. Very useful for that kind of thing. The Carnal is next, and she is all about sexual attraction, feeling good about yourself, beauty, sexualness, physical desires, sex, lust, all of those things. Very useful for feelings of self-worth, feeling better about yourself, for feeling sexy, for feeling confident, and that you are desirable, and in a physical sense, in a very physical sense, that not just that you're a nice person, but that you're physically desirable, sexy, worthwhile, or whatever, that you feel good about yourself. It's great if you're not feeling good about yourself. Say you're trying to go on a diet or to lose weight, to feel good to invoke, so you can feel that thing of feeling good about yourself physically, which you don't when you are overweight or whatever, and you don't feel that thing. So it's helpful to bring that in. Not saying that you should feel that if you're overweight. Loads of people who are overweight feel very sexy. Good for them, but more power to them. When it comes up in a reading, it denotes that this kind of sexual energy, you are putting it out, or not putting it out enough, or it's coming towards you. Any sort of sexual lust, sexual energy. And again, in Magick, useful for invoking to feel better about yourself physically. The chaste then is next. It's kind of the opposite in a sense, is that pulling back from all these pleasures, sensory pleasures, physical pleasures of sex, of even of eating, of enjoying food, or any of these things where we can overindulge. Pulling back to have more disciplined kind of sense of life, more purity, has elements of morality and virtue and honour. And it's about looking to life, that there's more to life than just love, sex, or any of these base pleasures. Taking these energies that we would normally have and putting them to use in other places. So in Magick, the chaste is useful for sometimes maybe find that you're going too much into sexual gratification, or looking for it, or putting yourself out there too much, and you want to pull back from that. But it can be useful for anything that you think you're doing too much of that and you need a bit more discipline. Again, like say something like spending too much time with the wrong people, or spending too much time watching telly, or anything that involves overindulging in some sort of sense. The chaste can be helpful to pull that back and to bring a more disciplined and pure kind of existence. So next we have the Conductor. And the Conductor is all about taking control of your circumstances and orchestrating life around you. So rather than life happening to you and you just reacting to it, the Conductor is about taking the reins and conducting life, putting your mark on the world, pushing yourself out there, making the world work, bend to your will, rather than just reacting to things that happen to you. So it's about taking your own reins, taking your own initiative, and taking control, taking responsibility for your life, for your situation, and doing all that needs to be done so that the world is made in the image you see fit. So again, great magic to invoke when you need to, that kind of energy where you feel that maybe that you don't have enough say in life, or you're just reacting to life rather than programming your own life, and you want a bit more control, a bit more sovereignty over what happens to you. The Conductor is the person that you should go to, or the servant you should go to. Next, we have the Contemplator. And the Contemplator is like the subconscious mind, or the collective unconscious, or whatever word we want to put to it. It's that part of your brain that when you're trying to think of your being, whatever we want to do, it might not necessarily be your brain. We're the jury's out on it. That when you're say, I can't think of the name of that actor guy, and you kind of you forget about it, and then later it just pops into your head. That subconscious brain has been working on that behind the scenes. There's plenty of evidence now that for creativity and for problem solving and all that, if you can engage that part of your brain by giving your other side of your brain something to do, then it works much better. Like if you are trying to think of something or problem solve, if you give yourself a mathematical puzzle to try and work out, it kind of distracts that part of your brain, the more analytical brain, and then the subconscious side or whatever can work on your problem. So the Contemplator, it's about, in a sense, if it comes up in a divination in a reading, would be to just put that aside for a moment, put whatever problem you're facing of, and let the solution come to you. It's a bit like if you can't remember the name of someone or remember something, the more you force it, the less likely you are to get it. And again, in Magick, great for the same sort of thing. So it's, like if you, again, can't think of the actor, give that problem over to the Contemplator to solve for you, and it'll come back as a problem solved. Next, we have the Dancer. And the Dancer is all about acceptance and knowing that, not knowing, but being okay with the fact that things don't always work out as planned. That if it rains, you dance in the rain. You're okay, you accept, you don't resist life as it comes to you. So rather than spiraling into depression, becoming, say, disheartened, you should rejoice in the fact that the effort was made, that you tried your best, and just go with it, just accept it. Don't get annoyed, don't get depressed, don't get angry, don't get aggressive, don't be saying it's unfair or whatever. Just go with it. So again, in Magick, invoking this can help you when you're in these kind of situations where you have felt that maybe your way didn't work out, you didn't get your way, and so rather than spiraling out of control into depression or sadness or whatever it is that is normal for you, just to go with it and to be okay with it. Then we have the Dead. Dead is obviously enough about the dead, but it's also about the accumulation of knowledge that has existed from the time at the beginning up until now. So lessons from history, that there's a whole bank of knowledge. It's that whole thing of you stand on the shoulders of giants. So that all the knowledge that we have gained now is only because people have in the past learned these things or worked these things out. Or like the latest computer only exists because of the computer before it, and the computer before it, and only exists because a million things had to happen for that to exist. So you have this accumulation of knowledge and experience. So if it comes up in a reading, it's an idea to look at what the lessons from the past, what we have learned, how other people dealt with this situation, how people classically might have done it, how your parents might have done it, how people in general, how would this have been dealt with 200 years ago, how, what is the cumulative knowledge rather than just you trying to work it out. What would the best practice be in some way? Like what have we learned about this event or this situation as a human race? What have we come to the conclusion of, and then approach it from that situation. In Magick, the Dead obviously is very good for any sort of ancestor work, and it's good for healing of, say, in the sense of old wounds with relationships or to the past, where you can send emotional healing to yourself for things that happened to you when you were younger, or to relationships that you no longer have any kind of interaction with, even with people who've died, or that sort of thing. That kind of healing rather than a physical healing, more of an emotional healing where you can send it to the past or send it to different times. Next, we have the Depleted. Depleted can be kind of a scary card for some people because it kind of feels like everything's gone wrong. But all it means is that the energy of some situation has played out, that it's gone, it's left. In the same way that autumn has to come because it's the cycle, it just means the end of one particular thing. So it could mean the end of a particular relationship, it has run its course. It could be the end of a particular job. It could be the end of a particular era, but not necessarily anything, so big as that. It doesn't have to be as a big deal as the end of an era or whatever. It can just mean something is coming to an end. And it can be a good in a good way. Like it could mean a period of sadness is coming to an end. Struggles are coming to an end. That something in your life has run its course and it needs to be allowed to end and come to a rest. So, in a magic sense, it's useful to remove energy from anything that is, from certain situations. If there's heated situations, if there's something that just won't go away, Depleted is great for just taking all the energy out of it. Say there's an argument that's been going on for too long and it's not going to go anywhere, it's not going to be solved. Use the Depleted just to take the energy out of it all and just so that it fizzles away. I suppose useful in coursework if you wanted to deplete something good from someone else or from, even from your own life. I don't know why you'd want to do that. Probably useful too in diets and, any sort of restricting type thing. Something to take the energy away. I no longer want to get enjoyment, take the deplete enjoyment from eating chocolate or something like that. And then the desperate is next. And the desperate is by far the worst. The worst is a bad word, but it's the lowest card or the lowest servant. This is basically the point when everything has gone as bad as it possibly can go. This is the hell moment. This is nadir. This is the point where when the shit has hit the fan, when everything has gone wrong and you're in the point of total despair and, can't see a way out of it. But there is a way out of it. There always is a way out of it. You can't get any lower. So the old saying is the only way is up and all that. The desperate is definitely a card of emotion and about life circumstances. To an outsider's point of view, it mightn't look as bad, but, in an inner sense, in an emotional sense, it can feel that bad. In a magic point of view, the desperate is interesting in more, probably you would be wanting to more banish the desperate than you would to invoke the desperate. I can't see why anyone would want to invoke that kind of energy. Again, it probably could send it in curse work, but general banishment is probably just much better. Just get people away from you rather than trying to torture them or whatever. That always gets messy. So a great one with the desperate is to put the sigil on, like, say, a stone and throw it into water. So you're banishing this desperate energy and you're just throwing it away. Another one which I really like is walking to the edge of your town or wherever you live and walk as far as it feels that you're no longer in your area or in your town. Just it feels, this doesn't feel like my town anymore. And then leave either a stone or a piece of paper with the sigil and, anything else you like to write in it, whatever you're leaving behind, and just leave it on the ground, turn around and walk away and walk home. And so you've left it outside your boundary, outside your sphere of influence. So yeah, desperate, not a great card to see, but, it can be helpful to banish. Okay, and we're going to leave it at that, as that went longer than I thought it would. And we'll do part 2 maybe next week, or probably next week. So if this made things clearer, great. If it didn't, leave a message for me or a comment down below, or in any of the places. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, there's the Facebook group, there's the YouTube channel, or you can check out adventuresinwoo.com itself. If you want to buy the deck or find out more about it, go to the40servants.com. And that's it. We'll come back to and go through these the next time. I assumed I was going to be quick in this, but obviously not, and there's no point in rushing through it. So have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.